Hi, I'm that Zen acting coach, and I'm here today to talk to you about ways to improve your confidence in ways that may not be so obvious. And obviously, because I'm Zen acting coach, everything I talk about has a spiritual component. And so today we're going to be talking about ancestors, connecting to ancestors. And well, what does that have to do with my confidence? Well, stay tuned and listen in. So what happened, I guess it was probably about 10 years ago, and I was watching a video clip of Latin singer Ricky Martin. And he popped out of on stage and was singing in front of a crowd of tens of thousands of people. And I was thinking to myself, why can't I feel like there are tens of thousands of people, of fans of my own? You know what I'm saying? That's what we call external validation when you have all those people outside. But is there ways to create that internal validation so that I can feel those 10,000 fans 24/7? Well, it took a while for me to figure it out, but the answer is yes. It's connecting to your ancestors. And connecting to ancestors is not something that I invented. It is been around for millennia. That is how humans used to, human culture was connected to their ancestors. It still exists in Africa today. Eastern religions all have that. In the West, though, however, because the West has such a fear of death, the connection to ancestors was just a little too spooky. So, but it's really an easy thing to do. And there are three types of ancestors that you can connect to. One is obviously blood, one is spiritual, and one is place. So blood relatives are your blood relatives. All those people that came before you. On the other side, they are looking out for you, and your connecting to them will just reinforce their ability to do so. Especially now, all of this genealogy and Ancestry.com, everybody knows all their lineage, and I know I have a great grandfather back to 1792, Zelman Kvart, and but what do you do with all this knowledge? You know who they are, but how do you make them part of your life? And so those are the blood relatives, and I'm going to tell you how to make them part of your life. The other aspect is the spiritual ancestors, and that is anyone who has passed who inspires you. That could be any artist, any poet, anything, any inventor, any scientist, Albert Einstein, Maya Angelou, Thich Nhat Hanh. The list goes on of anyone who has passed who inspires you. Your favorite, Glenn Fry came to mind. I don't know, John Lennon. I have him on my wall. I'll show you in a minute. My little ancestor shrine of sorts. Because in India, then the third, I was going to talk about India, but I'll talk about that in a second. So the third is place, like I said, and that's where you live. There are people who came before you where you live, and you can include those in your ancestor. So I live here in New York. So how many people, from Henry Hudson to, well, I don't know if you were a big Ed Koch fan or just anyone from New York. We have LaGuardia. I'm not saying that these are people for me. I'm not necessarily in line with some of their politics or things like that. But if there are people in the place, Dag Hammarskjöld, he was a UN president. There's a square named after him. So those are the three, again, your blood, your spirit, and your place, ancestors. And so what I was saying earlier a second ago about in Hinduism, so people still have that as part of people's lives, that they have a shrine in their house. And it doesn't necessarily have to be displayed for everyone. Depends on how you feel. You can have it in a corner, you can have it in a cabinet. And how you, depending on how many people you have in your family, if you have children and pets and things like that, you want to keep some areas clear. But I will show you, I have a makeshift. Mine's in the works as well. So it's certainly not where I would desire it to be. I would like to spend more time working on it and compiling photos and names and things like that. But if you click and subscribe to my channel here, and I will be having other videos that as I uncover some other things that I do, I will share, and perhaps you'll share with me. I know there are a lot of people that I have some friends on Facebook and have some past deceased loved ones who were famous and whatever, and they just keep them alive. And so that's the whole idea, is to have these people with you, because they are with you, especially in your immediate family, people who pass. They're with you all the time. I know, my doggy, I lost my dog 3 years ago, Mosey, and so he's with me all the time. It really is amazing that, however devastating that was, he's still here. So this is my little shrine in the corner here. So you can see how I have a poster of John Lennon, or painting, and then just a whole bunch of family photos and some family memorabilia and things. That little is my grandmother's tissue case. I have a candle there and some crystals and photos. And that's what I have for my ancestral shrine at the moment. And so let's talk a little bit about the process of how to create relationships with these people who are gone. A lot of that requires some meditation. So I talk about it in my book, The Self-Love Journey. And what I envision is having some type of maybe monthly or maybe every 6 weeks. You know, because we have, in Mexican culture, there's Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead, and that's just once a year. And it seems, you know, once a year, that's nice, but it's not really enough to, well, that's just my feeling. I don't know if it's true or not. It's just a feeling that I would like to acknowledge my ancestors more often than once a year. So how do I do that, you know? Well, so I was thinking of, you know, combining something into maybe some kind of full moon celebration, making things, creating. If you can bake or create, you can leave things on your little altars. Like I have a separate altar for my dog, you know, his picture is there. That's the altar with his collar, and I'll leave him dog bones. I leave him, we used to eat fruit together, so I would eat the fruit and he'd eat the little core, the rind of the apple or the pear. And so sometimes when I will still just leave it there on the altar overnight as something that we just continue to share those moments. It's wonderful. And so, you know, you have to come up with your own. You can start with this idea. If this inspires you in some way, that's great. But whatever you do, there is absolutely no right or wrong way to acknowledge your ancestors if you want to do it in a positive way. And don't even worry about, like I said, if you don't know them. One of the things that you can do, you saw how I had those photos, but if you don't have photos, I've seen people, you know, that have photos of their gravestones is something you can put up, or even just simply their name. Just put the name on, and that's what I was thinking in the monthly thing, sort of like they do every year on 9/11, to just read the names out loud of your ancestors, the ones you know, and welcome them and tell them how much you appreciate them in your life, and you're open to having them guide and help you. So I do that. So I call my ancestors my beloveds, and so I will go into meditation and talk to them and ask them for guidance and assistance in things that happen here on the planet. And They truly do help. And I have amassed, I think I have over a million spirits on the other side, is my cavalry of my army of people, because my spirits get other people involved, other souls. If you're off to something important and wanting to change the world and make it a better place, there are a lot of souls who will help out. Like I said, they don't have to be related, because they can be your spiritual ancestors or your local ancestors. They're all here to help. So, like I said, as an actor, this is tremendously powerful to know, to feel those, even if you have 1,000 souls on your team, in your cavalry, makes a tremendous difference in your confidence and your ability to stand up for yourself and be who you are. That's the whole goal, is in this self-love journey, that the ancestors will in fact help transmute some of the traumas that cause you to have lower self-esteem, or some of the traumas that cause you to want to be an actor. As actors, we tend to have a little bit more past traumas and difficulties that we seem to be able to work out. I know, like I said, this is internal validation is what we're working for, because in acting, the focus is on the external validation, getting the part, getting applause, being seen, all that stuff that will validate us externally for how wonderful and artistic we are. But that doesn't last forever. And what do you do between the gigs, right? You still have to be happy. You still have to be strong. And increasing your internal validation is the only way to do that. And that's part of that's what the self-love journey really is. It's improving your internal validation. So that's all I'm going to talk about today. I just want to introduce you to this idea and see what if any of it resonates with you. Can you see yourself creating some type of relationship with your ancestors and your spirit guides and your place ancestors? They are all one help. How would that work out for you? So again, if you'd like, subscribe, and there'll be other videos and follow-ups of things. And feel free to leave some comments below and questions. I'm happy to answer and explore myself. This is sort of new for me as well. And there'll be other links below. You can see to my website and get your free copy of my ebook, The Self-Love Journey, a spiritual guide to a happier human experience, because I want you to be happy. Namaste.